who are you and what do you do?
Thanks, Tony. My name is Dave Ferrier, and I'm an actor.
What drives you to be an actor?
That's a great question. I just have so much fun entertaining people. I think when they come out to see me, whether it's in a play, and now I've started to get into film, I have such a, it's so entertaining to me to watch their faces and their expression. I just have a great time doing it. I love being able to create new characters, being able to express myself on stage. I also like working with my fellow actors. I've met so many new friends doing it. It's so amazing how small the acting community is, and I have a wonderful time doing it. I think that's what motivates me, is just the camaraderie amongst actors, and then the entertainment I can bring to the audience.
How does that make you feel when you can make the audience respond in an emotional way?
Sure. It means that the work that I've put into it has paid off, and the work the director has done with me has also paid off, because whether it's on stage and we're doing rehearsal after rehearsal and tech week and that sort of thing, or if it's on film and we're doing multiple takes, it just means that what I've been doing is worthwhile, and the money they've paid and they've spent is worth their time and that sort of thing. So that's what it means to me, is I'm so glad that they are able to come out and they walk away and saying, wow, that was great. And especially when I see them talking about it afterwards, and they come up afterwards, like in a play, and they say, wow, that was really great. Or if they're debating it afterwards, if it's something, controversial or it's something to talk about, that's what I just really enjoy.
Okay. How did you get started?
I'm actually relatively new, considering my age, and I started about 2007. And I took a number of acting classes here in the city, Walnut Street Theater, improv and acting and intro and that sort of thing. I've always had that acting bug, I think. And I finally took a whole bunch of classes, and then I was like, you know what, I need to audition. And I got my first audition, which is fantastic. What a confidence builder. Okay. And now I'm completely hooked.
Let's talk about auditioning for a second. What's it like for a new actor, a fresh actor, to go out on auditions? How do you feel about that?
Sure. I think there's two types of auditions that I've been to. One is the one-on-one with the director and maybe the assistant director. And, they take you down into a separate room, and it's one-on-one with the director. And sometimes it's a cold read. That's what I've seen for the most part. Sometimes it has to do with the play, or sometimes it might be completely unrelated. The other types of auditions I've seen are when you're on stage and everyone else who's auditioning watches what you do. I think for a new actor, that's probably the most nerve-wracking.
Okay. How does that make you feel, like when thousands of people, or well, actually hundreds of people are watching you?
The audition?
Yeah, the audition, yeah.
I think what I consider anyways, is I'm always concerned, is the next person going to steal what I'm doing, my technique sort of thing. So personally, I always try and go first. If we're able to volunteer and say, who wants to go first, I'm the first one to raise my hand, because I've already got an idea in my head what I want to do, and the last thing I want to do is come, fourth or fifth or whatever, and think, oh, that guy did exactly what I was thinking of doing. So I think especially for a new actor, that's probably the most nerve-wracking. But even if you do have that sort of audition, just go for it. Just do what your gut tells you.
What's it like working with other actors? Do you actually feed off of other actors, or is it something that you're self-contained, or do you get something from other people?
I definitely feed off other actors. I think so key is that eye contact, and once you start to, you get into rehearsal and you get that rapport with the other person, you definitely start to build off that. And especially if the director gives you a little bit of freedom to do that, I think that's so important. I definitely feel that energy working with other actors, especially when you have that great rapport. Yeah, I totally do that.
In your opinion, as a professional actor, what's the difference between stage and television?
Wow. Big difference. Stage, you have usually a lot more lines to memorize, and there's no second take, third take, that sort of thing. You're live in front of the audience. So when things go wrong, you have to be ready to adapt to that. And I've had things go wrong on stage.
How did you feel when things went wrong on stage for you? Like you're right in the middle of it. What do you feel and what do you do?
Sure, I can actually give you an example. So earlier this year, I was in a play, and I ran on stage, and I have to grab the suitcase and run back off stage with it. Well, the suitcase wouldn't latch, and I didn't know that, and the actor who brought it on stage couldn't tell me. I run on stage, I grab the suitcase, I turn to run off because the allegedly the apartment's on fire. The suitcase opens, and all the clothes go into the audience. So
It's part of the show.
now they don't know that, and I think that's what you have to keep in mind is the audience most likely won't know that something accidental has happened.
Right.
You just got to keep rolling with it. And so I just closed the suitcase, left the clothes where they were, ran off stage, continued what I was doing, and then of course I go backstage and talk to my other actors and say, "Oh my goodness, did you see what just happened?" And you laugh about it and that sort of thing. And,
Yeah, did the audience respond to it? Did they laugh, or did they shudder when the clothes were all over the place in the audience?
They laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they laughed. And again, they'll go along with you. Sometimes they can tell when something has gone wrong, but usually they're kind. They know that you're really working to entertain them, and yeah, they'll work with you.
Yeah. When you're having a challenging day, what does acting mean to you?
I think acting is a great release. I can forget the cares of the day, my regular day job, for example, and because I'm working with different people and people I might not see all the time, and I've made so many good friends. So I think it's a great escape, not only from the day-to-day rigmarole, but into another character. So, I'm portraying a completely different person. I might not be anything like that person. And it's really fun to do that. So I think it really, whether you're having a good day, especially if you're having a bad day, I think being able to escape into another role really is a benefit.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite roles to this day?
I'm actually working right now at Eastern State Penitentiary for Terror Behind the Walls. And I think it's not a specific role, but, we are doing the haunted house and we're scaring people. And so it's really different than a specific play or a specific TV show or movie sort of thing. But I think being able to, and it might sound a little weird, I really enjoy scaring people. And because it's like a roller coaster ride. They're up, they're down, they're scared, they're laughing, because you have to do that. You have to scare them, and sometimes they might laugh at you. So I think that right now, and it's so very physical too. You are running around, and I'll see 8,000 people a night when we sell out. So it's a really intense workout, really.
So they come through the tour. Is that correct?
This is specific to Eastern State Penitentiary. This is the haunted house part. So it's separate from the daytime tours that they go through. And again, this is only for this Halloween season. And yeah, it's just starting, in fact, and it's very physical. And for me as an actor, it's very special too, because only 200 actors get to do this. And it's the most popular haunted house in the country. So to be able to say that and this is my second season, so to be able to say I'm one of only 200 actors that gets to do this, I guess means I'm okay at it.
Okay. Now, David, in your normal everyday life, what's important to you, aside from acting?
Really, what's important to me is just doing a good job at work. People come to me I'm known as the creative guy. So people come to me for different ideas. I tell people, whenever I'm given a choice, A, B, C, my first instinct is to pick D. I like to pick a blend of everything that's out there. And so people come to me with their ideas, say, oh, Dave, I can't think of something. What do you think about this project or this sort of thing? So I'm always trying to help my coworkers. I'm also known as kind of the office nerd. And I wear that badge with honor, so I'm always helping people with their technological things. So I think really helping my coworkers, that's really the most important thing to me.
Do you help other actors? Do you help people on the crew?
Most definitely. I think one thing you have to be careful with, though, is you should never tell an actor how you think they should say a line. Because I've seen that happen, and it's really not your job to do that. Leave that up to the director to do something like that. You might work with the actor. There are ways to sort of do that, but not, hey, Tony, I think you might want to say the line this way. One of the things I just did for my haunted house is we have a lot of new people that are on the team that I'm on. And I gave them all the tips that I learned from last year, everything from what kind of clothes to bring, how much water to drink, what to do when people are backed up in line. And everyone seemed to really appreciate that sort of thing. So I was really pleased to be able to give my wisdom that I learned last year to them, and they seem to really appreciate that. So I hope it'll make a better season for them, and then obviously for the audience too.
Given the entertainment world itself, with all the other things that are happening in the world today, like 9/11, things that are happening in Iran, world events, how does, in your opinion, how does entertainment, how does acting fit into the grand scheme of things?
I think whether it's television, stage, or an attraction, again, I think it can be a real escape, whether it's the economy, whether it's the wars and 9/11 and the memories of that and that sort of thing. Even if it is something that's on those specific topics, like we just had all the anniversaries and shows and that sort of thing. I think it's important for people to see other perspectives, and that's kind of how I feel about that. I think it's really important for people to, it's almost like an escape for them.
Before you go out on stage or before you go in front of the cameras, do you have a mantra or anything like that, or do you have a spiritual aspect to your approach? What do you think about? What do you think about before you go out there?
Sure. Honestly, it's funny because I see some actors doing particular voice warm-up techniques, and I'll do that somewhat. I'm really I try and just be very relaxed. That curtain is closed, for example, and I can hear the audience out there, and I'll just be thinking, okay, just relax. You're ready to go. Your lines, and so I think just kind of centering myself, just being very calm, not trying to anticipate the next couple of lines, because I've seen that happen and people end up
lost.
that's when they get lost.
Yeah.
It's just do the lines that are right there with that other person. It's when you start thinking about lines ahead, that's where you can get really into trouble. So I think just taking it easy, just being chill for a couple of minutes before that curtain opens. I think for me that's what really seems to work.
Do you have any favorite actors at all, or any favorite films?
Boy, one of the things I did a couple of years ago is I watched the top 100 films of all time. And a lot of those, quite frankly, I had never seen. Everything from Casablanca to On the Waterfront and all that sort of thing. And I was just amazed. There's a reason those films are the top 100 films of all time.
What do you think the reasons are?
They're the ones that essentially all films of today borrow from, whether it's classic lines, whether it's a style of filmmaking, a style of acting. I was just amazed, at how good they are, whether it's black and white. I think they still, in a lot of cases, hold up today. So I don't know if I necessarily have favorite actors sort of thing, but I have, I think that's really what I enjoyed the most, was seeing those classic films of all time. If people haven't done that sort of thing, I think it's really worth it, because that list rarely changes. So I think it's certainly a great experiment for someone to do.
As an actor, where do you see yourself in a few years?
One of the things I have not been able to do yet is improv. I've taken classes on it. I use that skill at my haunted house, but I haven't been able to do that sort of thing on stage. So that's something I'd like to do. I'd like to try maybe like a comedy stand-up sort of thing. I know there's lots of places here in Philly to do that sort of thing. So that's something I'd like to try, because that's somewhat scripted, somewhat not scripted. I think that really makes a lot of people nervous. When they have a script, I think they're okay, but it's that improv. I've noticed a lot of actors that I've worked with are really, that's what seems to make them nervous. That, what do I say now? And I think once you get into that technique, you've taken classes on it, but I also think you kind of have to have an innate talent a little bit for that, to be able to play off the audience, or especially if you're in a group, to play off everyone else. So that's really what I like to try, is like some comedy and some improv.
What's it like working in Philadelphia, or in and around the Philadelphia area as an actor? Do you think Philadelphia is supportive with that? Do you think it's a large community? What do you think about that?
I think Philly is extremely supportive. First of all, there are so many theaters in the area. I do a lot of community theater. Personally, I've worked at 7 different community theaters already in just a few short years, and I'm essentially just scratching the surface. So I think the acting community here is extremely supportive, and the community itself. So I'm so pleased with that. The public itself seems very supportive of theater. You know, not everyone needs to go, you know, watch a big screen movie or sit in front of their TV and watch Netflix and that sort of thing. It's so much more organic when they are watching someone on stage.
What are some of the organic elements that come forth when you're sitting in a live theater?
It's almost that interaction between the audience and the actors on stage. Even if you don't break that fourth wall sort of thing, you know, you might make eye contact with someone in the audience and, you know, make them laugh sort of thing. And you're not going to get that sort of interaction with any other medium, whether it's, you know, it's on TV or film, because that's been done, you know, maybe months ago sort of thing. So when you can see one another, and if you greet them after the fact and they say, wow, that was really great, that moved me, I really enjoyed what you did, that part I think for me is just so rewarding.
What kind of advice could you give to young actors that are just starting out, that want to do this?
Find auditions and just go on them. There are so many, there's a number of websites where you can find auditions. They'll tell you what they're looking for, and just send your headshots and your resume out there. Follow up, you know, see where they're at. When you go to those auditions, you know, be prepared for them, especially if they, you know, find out, do they want a prepared monologue? But also be prepared for cold reads, whether it has to do with the play or the production, whether it doesn't. And just be prepared, be loud, you know, for stage actors especially. You know, you have to be able to project because, you know, you're in a large theater. There usually aren't going to be microphones, you know, attached to you sort of thing. Be big. Don't be afraid to be silly sometimes, you know. I think some people feel embarrassed when they're asked to do like something silly. I know one audition I had to do, they wanted me to talk like a pirate, you know, and
Hard.
yeah, and it had nothing whatsoever to do with the play, but you know, the director just wanted to see, am I willing to go there? So I think, you know, just keep those things in mind when you're going on auditions there.
And if a casting director is watching right now, how can they get in contact with you as an actor?
Sure. I have a website, and it's my name, daveferrier.com or davidferrier.com. So I've made it very easy to locate me, and that's probably the best two ways to get a hold of me there. Yeah.
And you're currently available for acting gigs.
I certainly am, yes, exactly. And like I said, I absolutely love it, whether it's on stage, whether it's on TV, or I've been doing films recently. And like I said, it's become really a passion for me.
Fantastic. David, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Tony. It's
Appreciate
been
it.
such a pleasure
Break a
meeting
leg.
you and doing this.
Break a leg.
Thank